need to work through, and we'll have some time to work through those hopefully, but that decrease in supply in China would indicate or result in an increase in price for, I would say, the world market.
Yeah. Lindsay Mitchell, Illinois Corn Marketing Board at the Spring Conference of U.S. Meat Export Federation. If only we could resolve how to get farmers in the fields where they continue, in many cases, to be waterlogged, and the forecast doesn't look much better either. This is the RFD Livestock Report.
Hey, good day to you. Welcome to RFD Illinois on a Friday. I'm Rita Frazier here at the Illinois Farm Bureau in Bloomington. DeLoss remains in Kansas City, covering the details of the spring meeting of the U.S. Meat Export Federation, talking about meat exports, but also big contributors to USMEF like the Illinois Corn Marketing Board. DeLoss caught up with Lindsay Mitchell from Illinois Corn while in KC. We'll hear that conversation on the Livestock Report today, so much more coming your way later. At the top of the show today, we'll hear from Adam Nielsen, Director of National Legislation, Illinois Farm Bureau, and Jonathan Koppas over at the University of Illinois as he talked about the trade aid discussion after the USDA announcement yesterday. USDA did announce support for farmers impacted by unjustified retaliation and trade disruption from China. The market facilitation payments in the amount of $14.5 billion that will be direct payments to producers, but lots of details remain to be ironed out in the rulemaking process, and we hope for those complete details very, very soon. Adam and Jonathan will talk about what we know today coming up on this edition of RFD Illinois. Stay with us.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD Radio Network. Her radio career spans close to 3 decades. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up on a small farm. My job today allows me to connect with people from all walks of life and experience opportunity every day. I get to talk about what I love, farming.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Does the warmer weather have you itching for a weekend getaway? Take your Illinois Farm Bureau membership savings with you.
Farm Bureau members can save up to 20% at choice hotels, including favorites like Comfort Suites, Sleep Inn, Quality Inn and Suites, with even more to choose from.
Call 800-258-2847 or visit the Choice Hotels website to search all the hotels at once and to make advance reservations.
Contact your local county farm bureau for your discount code number. Welcome back to RFD Illinois. What a huge day yesterday for agriculture. We hoped for more details from USDA and market facilitation payments. Adam Nielsen is in with us, Director of National Legislation for Illinois Farm Bureau. Jonathan Koppas is here from the University of Illinois. Guys, what do we make of the announcements from USDA yesterday? Adam?
$14.5 billion worth of aid, but we're not sure how it's going to be distributed other than it will be based on damages that farmers have suffered due to the trade war. We're talking about blended rates, basing it on planted 2019 acres, which is causing a lot of people to scratch their heads.
Jonathan?
I'd add to that. I think there's 2 big questions that the USDA needs to sort out quickly. The first one, to Adam's point there at the end, if they're making these payments and that the part of the requirement for getting these payments is that you plant a crop in 2019, that is clearly going to raise a lot of concerns and issues about the risk it puts on for additional soybean acres given this kind of spring we've had. But I think the second real big question that needs to be clarified is how they get to this single county payment rate. We need some transparency in how this is calculated to understand if it's, frankly fair, and that it makes sense. And so getting those details first and foremost, I think, are a top priority.
Determination, Adam, as you clarified, so we will not know really until after that July 15th deadline for reported acres.
Well, I hope that we know the rates before that. I hope that there's a rule published in the very near future so we can see some evidence of what it might be like. That was one of the big mysteries of this, is when that calculation was going to be made. It was going to take into account all commodities. They have to determine, again, how much trade damage exists in that particular county, and they're also going back more than a year to calculate that. So there are so many variables. It's going to be very difficult for someone who is up against the gun to get their crop in the ground to decide what to do.
And Jonathan, I know they wanted farmers to plant for the market, but if you're an Illinois farmer today, what do you do with all this information?
You're scratching your head. I mean, it's more confusion on top of the challenges you've got from Mother Nature right now, because everybody wants to plant for the market, but the market is currently showing lower prices. The tariff war has impacted market prices, and now they're adding payments into this. Any rational, reasonable farmer is going to need to consider what these payments mean, just like you would factor in crop insurance, prevent planting, and other things. You've got to sort this out, and this is why I think the USDA needs to clarify exactly how that's going to work, because I think the uncertainty itself creates a risk that if you have to guess, you're going to guess in a way that will return a payment, would be my guess.
Adam, what are you hearing from county presidents and the membership?
Yeah, the county presidents are concerned about the fact that this is a precarious time for them. They're going to have to make a decision, as Jonathan just stated, without much information, and they're asking questions that we can't answer right now.
So, Jonathan, if you can give us a minute of advice, golden nugget here, what is it after you've digested this news?
I'm not sure what advice to give on this, to be honest. And given the fact that we know so little about it, anything you'd say at this point was likely to be wrong and probably held against you. I think the pressure needs to come in that they need to clarify some of these key issues. They need to clarify them quickly, and they need to factor in just how much stress farmers are under right now, given this kind of spring. This sort of uncertainty is not helping. This doesn't help in this situation. I'm hopeful we get some information quickly so we can provide some advice and some analysis behind it.
Nobody said when this rule was going to be published. Presumably it would be in the coming days. It seems like maybe this was thrown together because of a lot of the reaction that story in Bloomberg was getting, and there was a lot of speculation and concern about doing something that was going to prolong the planting season. It's an absolute mess. Great that farmers can count on some assistance, but it is really an unknown as to how that compares to simply just planting a crop.
You mentioned, and we talked prevented plant. That's the other huge issue on folks' mind, but that's something that Farm Bureau is going to address next week, Adam. You're going to partner with Country in a webinar to try to get as much information out to membership as possible.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a bit more to tell them. Yes, Country's Doug Yoder is going to do a webinar. The Country team is going to discuss Prevent Plant and the rules for that and considerations farmers need to be thinking about when making that decision. And, of course, they'll be making that decision not knowing what the MFP will look like.
Jonathan Kopis, University of Illinois. Adam Nielsen, Illinois Farm Bureau. We'll be back with more news. This is RFD Illinois.
Be it through headlines, microphones, or tweets, Mike Orso connects rural routes for you. Mike has been covering farm and food issues for more than 3 decades. Whether it's print, video, radio, or feeding your online appetite, Mike keeps you in the loop. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
I keep our communities, state, and country in mind with everything I do. My job allows me to work toward this mission with farmers and other rural Illinoisans.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
This is your RFD Radio Network 4S report. Fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food.
all sources of essential energy. Here's DeLaw Schonke.
Talking food today at U.S. Meat Export Federation's spring conference in Kansas City with Joel Haggard, Senior Vice President for USMEF in the Asia Pacific region. He's been out there for about 30 years. Huge growth in that time and still tremendous potential.
So when I started, MEF had a Tokyo office. I set up the Hong Kong office. We had a Singapore office there, so there was kind of North Asia in Japan, and then we had a Singapore office. But we were already thinking about China when we set up the Hong Kong office, even though at that point in time, we're talking the late 80s, China was a meat exporter, and they were a large meat exporter. They exported beef, they exported chicken, they exported pork. But we saw that someday, with their limited arable land, that was going to be a potential import market. So Hong Kong's perfectly placed. I can take a train from Hong Kong, a high-speed train anywhere in China from Hong Kong.
I mean, there's not a lot of people with the second freezer in the garage, or even maybe not even a freezer in the house. It may all just be a refrigerator, and so the demands of the product has to look a lot different.
No, that's exactly it. Basically, no one would have an extra freezer in their homes. No one that I know, and there's just no space. So if you have a house that's 600 square feet, that's the average, and you have 4 to 6 people in there, there is no room for a freezer except in the bottom or the top of your very small refrigerator. So people go out and buy products daily.
So if we have this huge commodity that we can send in bulk from here to there, what do we have to do so that we give them the product that they need? I mean, does that start here, or does it take place when it makes its way over there?
No, I mean, for protein, for all red meat, poultry, seafood, it all comes in a standardized cardboard carton, shipped there, and then cut and diced and sliced and repackaged into small retail packages. So, so there's the fresh product that comes in, live animals from China, slaughtered in Hong Kong, and then basically hung on hooks, and then sold to consumers however much they want. I want 200 grams. Okay, you get 200 grams. But then there's the modern supermarket, Western modern supermarket chains, and that's small packages. Again, it can range from half a pound to pound and a half, but generally they're pretty small. They're smaller than what you'd see in Costco here.
Joel Haggard, U.S. Meat Export Federation. One item from the first quarter of 2019, according to USMEF, is that exports of pork to Taiwan were up 83% in volume, the highest first quarter since 2011, and also 57% in value, $14.3 million worth just to Taiwan alone, first quarter of 2019. AAA gas prices, the average national regular price held steady compared to a month ago at $2.85 a gallon, 11 cents less than a year ago. Diesel, $3.10, was 2 cents more than a month ago and a dime less than last year. In Illinois, $2.98 a gallon for regular was a penny less than last month, 11 cents less than last year. Diesel, $2.97, 2 cents less than last month and 13 cents less from last year. Missouri, $2.54, Kentucky, $2.66, Iowa, $2.67, Wisconsin, $2.83, and Indiana, $2.91 per gallon.
That's this week's 4S Report. Tune in next week for all of the latest fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food trends and essential energy information.
Pork export value, according to U.S. Meat Export Federation, for the first quarter of 2019 averaged $46.15 per head. The first quarter average for beef was $309.32 per head. So exports huge for both species. Kendall Frazier, CEO of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. So having a quality product is important. Also having good trade agreements is important. And then a huge one, animal health, to make sure those markets stay open around the world.
We have a very dangerous disease that exists around the world called foot and mouth disease. We haven't had a case in the United States since the 1920s. But we do a lot of scenario planning on what if that ever came to the United States, because it would be devastating to our industry. So we got to be diligent. We got to work with the government to make sure that these diseases, whether they're in pork or beef, never come to the United States.
That was one of the questions when Brazil beef come to the United States. Well, what if it brings it in? So, I mean, is Brazil beef still coming to the U.S., or whatever happened with it?
No, it doesn't come to the U.S. Secretary Perdue suspended Brazilian beef coming to the U.S. President Trump met recently with the president of Brazil. Obviously, the Brazilians are interested in resuming that, and basically Secretary Perdue and the Brazilians agreed that there are going to be audit teams go down to Brazil and report back. That's going to take a while before we can resume any imports of those products. That's one thing we're very concerned about. We have relationships with the Brazilian cattlemen. We know those people, and we've told them that we've got to be ironclad sure that those products are free of foreign animal diseases before we're going to let them back into the U.S.
One thing about the news about Japan and not allowing, 30-month and older animals, some of that dates to 2003, that BSE case. I mean, that was one cow. That was one animal. To be diligent on this stuff it's got to be exhausting, but it's also pretty important work.
Extremely important, and it's high priority for us. I know it's a high priority for the pork producers. We've got to make sure that we keep these foreign animal diseases out of the United States, because they will devastate your livestock population, but they also impact consumer confidence in your product. They have the potential to do that. So we've got to be really diligent about it, keeping them out.
Kendall Frazier, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, the Spring Conference of the U.S. Meat Export Federation, which in previous years, when it came to the Midwest, would be well attended by Illinois farmers. But this year, just hoping at least for a chance for field work and maybe even planting, has kept the Illinois contention at home. Generally speaking, it's been another difficult week, and the forecast doesn't look a whole lot better either. We'll break now for markets and the latest weather forecast.
With the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Friday morning, I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all ending Thursday lower. July corn 3.89 3/4, down 4 3/4. September corn down 5 1/4, 3.98 1/2. December corn 4.08, down 4 3/4. July beans closing at 8.21 1/2, down 7. August beans down 7 1/4, 8.28 1/4. September beans 8.35 1/4, down 7. July wheat closing at 4.70 1/4, down 2 1/2. September wheat down 2 1/2, 4.78 1/4, and December wheat 4.92 1/2, down 1 3/4. July bean meal 2.9720, down 1.10. July bean oil 26.78, down 53 cents. In current electronic overnight trading, July corn up 4 1/4, September corn up 4 1/2, and December corn up 3 3/4, 4.11 3/4. July beans in the overnight up 3 1/2, August beans up 3 1/2, and September beans up 3 1/4, 8.38 1/2. July wheat in the overnight up 3 3/4, September wheat up 3 1/2, and December wheat up 2 1/2, 4.95. At the outside markets, July Brent crude oil down $3.23 a barrel, 67.76. The June gold contract down $4.40 this morning, 12.81 even. In the livestock market from Thursday, June lean hogs 89.42, down 22 cents. July lean hogs down a dime, 90.95. June live cattle 110.80, up 15 cents. August live cattle up 20 cents, 108.15. May feeders 135.60, up 15 cents. August feeder cattle 143.02, up 42 cents. Cash livestock at the Fairview Sale Barn this week, steers 124.50 at the top. Illinois Direct Barrels and Gilts trading week on Thursday at 50 to 58. And I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather with the early morning ag weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Friday morning. Additional scattered showers and thunderstorms occurred yesterday, mostly in the southern and eastern Midwest. Many areas farther north and west had some dry time during the day Thursday. Daytime highs here in Illinois were in the 70s and 80s. A new area of showers and thunderstorms has been developing in from the southwest late yesterday through last night, with some showers and thunderstorms back into the northern half of the state early today. The weather pattern will stay active across the Midwest through the holiday weekend and on into the middle part of next week, with frequent chances for showers and thunderstorms. greatest coverage and amounts of rain during this time will tend to favor the western through the northern part of the Midwest, with rainfall in the Ohio Valley being lighter and more scattered. Some 1 to 4 inch rainfall amounts will likely be fairly common across northern Illinois and much of the northern through western Midwest over the next 4 or 5 days. Once again, lighter amounts are expected along the Ohio River, with some areas picking up less than a half inch of rainfall over the next 3 or 4 days, and areas along the Ohio River will have the most dry time over the next several days. Daytime highs across Illinois through the holiday weekend will be mostly in the 70s and 80s. Any cooler temperatures will be confined to areas farther to the north and northwest. Once again, it looks like this active weather pattern will continue into the middle part of next week, and overall 6 to 10 day rainfall will likely average near to above normal across much of the Midwest. It still does appear there could be 3 or 4 days starting later next week when rainfall will become lighter across the Midwest, but at least normal rainfall is expected on into the 11 to 15 day period also. 6 to 10 day temperatures will average near to above normal across most of the Midwest, with again any cooler readings farther to the north and northwest. Once again, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture. We grow best together.
From midnight snacks to holiday gatherings, food is a part of our culture that brings us together every day. To make sure we all have food on our tables, Illinois farmers are going beyond planting crops and raising animals. We're making sure the wildlife that helps our food grow has homes too. To learn more about conservation efforts, visit ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau. Hi, this is Sabrina Hardy, RFD Business Manager. I want to thank you for listening to the RFD Radio Network, the #1 ag radio network in Illinois. Did you know RFD Radio Network's programming is being broadcast by Rita Frazier and DeLosh Yankee with a combined 50 years of broadcasting experience? Join us daily. If you have any questions, email me at chardy@ilfb.org.
Farm, family, food. Those 3 words best describe Illinois Farm Bureau. Farm. For 100 years, Farm Bureau in Illinois has represented and served the men and women who make Illinois one of the top food-producing states. Family. At the heart of rural Illinois are traditional farm families who work together through Illinois Farm Bureau. And food. Farm Bureau families are proud to grow the healthy food they provide their families and yours. Farm, family, food. The heart of Farm Bureau in Illinois.
That is all the time we have for this edition of RFD Illinois. Thanks for spending some time with us today. And we're going to salute the community of Raymond, Illinois in Montgomery County, population 1,006. That community